Hello and welcome. There is a huge opportunity in manufacturing, particularly at the point where defense and private industry meet. But in order to ensure that it happens effectively, the two have to talk together and work with each other, compete and cooperatively work with each other. So to discuss that, I'm joined by Ravindra Nuguri, Vice President at HCL Technologies. Ravi, thank you very much for speaking with us.
My pleasure.
So you're in an interesting position. You worked in government in the past with the Department of Atomic Energy some years ago, and now you're working with HCL Technologies, handling the automotive and aerospace businesses. So you can see the point at which the two worlds are meeting or trying to meet. So tell us, what are the challenges that are there today, and why it is important to overcome them?
So from an Indian defense and sector point of view, most of the time the work has been through the public sector, and what they managed to do in the last few decades is to go beyond the embargo challenges and the challenges which came because the world isolated them. They managed to grow the SMEs pretty well. Actually, as we speak, we have around 700 to 800 SMEs who are capable of delivering Aero and Mill grade standard products or components. So that is what they managed to do from an SME point of view.
However, it's just that the middle layer didn't get created.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is always that SMEs stayed like SMEs. They never managed to grow up, and the big companies couldn't get in there because of the procurement policies and the frameworks on which they were working on. I believe the industry and government both are realizing that it is important, it is imperative to collaborate, to partner, and Nasscom is a great body and opportunity to present both the industries together to see how we can do better.
Right. So, and this is an exciting new area, right? I mean, because it's the first time, as you said, that defense or government is opening up on this regard, and it's the first time that private industry is also finding its feet, particularly the larger companies. So, what are the key challenges that are faced while this process is going on, and how would they be overcome, or how could they be taken on?
Yeah. So, from the industry point of view, if you see the defense and the offset policies which are coming up, I believe making it very, very important and interesting for the industry, because make and buy. First option is to see if you can make it in India, and then only look at buy option. So that is a big change which has happened in the industry through the policies, which should and will enable the industries to start looking at how we can invest and how we can take it forward. Another important thing is the amount of budget we have in Indian defense and the offset policies which have come in would also encourage the Indian industry to invest. And we can see those partnerships, those investments happening from the big players. And there are foreign partners who are willing to take the next steps to help the Indian partners to go forward, because there is always a need for the Indian government or defense industry to have a prime of an Indian company.
Right.
So that makes it easier for Indian companies to move forward.
Right. So let me ask you a more general question. In the US, for instance, I mean, the combination of defense and defense spending and universities has created that magic mix of innovation and the innovation culture and so many startups and of course the technologies that came from it. Do you see the beginnings of that happening now, although in a different way in India?
I agree with you, because it's an indication, right? When you look back at Nasscom, we have Aero SIG, we have an Auto SIG, we have a Construction and Heavy Engineering SIG. One common theme on all these SIGs is talent building. And one common theme which even Somitel talked about in today's inaugural speech is occupational standards. We are moving away from skills to occupational standards, and as soon as the industry and academia get embraced with that, I'm sure that is going to go. That's going to happen very soon.
Right. So, what are the challenges that you face in your own industry? And let me ask you in the context of the automotive and aerospace practices that you lead, in achieving some of these challenges, or achieving some of these targets, or facing these challenges?
Yeah. So obviously, the academia is still not yet geared up. As we were talking about, even Dr. Saraswat mentioned in the Nasscom in the panel discussion, that there has to be a mutual exchange of people from academia to industry and industry to academia. Now it's easier said than done. Now we need to see how we can enable that as an industry. But however, I repeat, Nasscom through their efforts. You know, the Aero SSG also started coming up with a curriculum, and we have identified few colleges where we can do this collaboration. 50% of the curriculum is covered by the industry, and industry, there are a lot of passionate people who are coming forward to share their knowledge, share their experiences, and take it forward. So as you said, it's a small beginning, but I am sure we are going towards that.
So can you tell us some of the things that you're working on right now which you feel have interesting market potential? I mean, not to reveal any secrets, but in a general sense, what's lies ahead?
Wow, so there is one definitely which is, I believe it's going to be the future of the day, and it's a thing in aerospace. We call it as integrated vehicle health management or monitoring. That is going to be the order of the day going forward, and I think that's a research topic, that's a topic which is of interest to every company, because that will help us being efficient, being prognostic rather than diagnostic, and being proactive than reactive. It will help you predict how the components, how the systems or subsystems are going to behave. You are able to predict and do a preventive maintenance rather than a corrective maintenance on it. So I am sure that's one topic which is very close to our heart, and we are trying to do something in that as well, along with our partners, both in India as well as in abroad.
Right, and this is really putting the intelligence on the machines, which
Absolutely.
in any case we've been doing.
So we talk about smart sensors, big data, analytics, all of them converge. You know, that's another beauty which we see in the industry now. Convergence of technologies. There is nothing like one particular technology is one particular vertical. The technologies are converging, and you have to have that convergence to go forward. This is absolutely essential.
Right. So last question, how do you see the convergence of industry and government, as well as all these new technologies all coming together in the coming few years?
I believe it is imperative. I believe it has to happen. The time and when and how it will happen is anybody's guess, but I see more and more interaction between all the three entities. And there is more and more urgency which is felt in all the three entities to make it move forward.
Right.
So I'm sure it will happen sooner than what most of us think.
Right. Ravi, thank you very much for speaking with us.
My pleasure.